Okay, so in all seriousness, I think we could probably turn down the swearing by about 22%.
It was you.
Yeah, no, it's all of us. It's not you, Gow. Gow's the one that doesn't swear because he's thinking about his kids, and I don't give a fuck about mine.
I swear in the songs.
But we could probably do with turning down the swearing just a bit.
I think I said pussy in one of the songs. Welcome to Born to Watch, where three old mates review and discuss the movies that mean the most to them.
Hey there, fellow watchers. It's that time of the week again, Born to Watch time. My name's Whitey, and I'm the host of this podcast. And with me, as always, are the two Stooges. In the studio, the panic room, is Gow. How are you, mate?
Really good. Really happy to be back again for this episode. What a cracker.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got Dan up there on Sunny Payne's land. How are you?
Yeah, big week on the land. I took a trip with the family over to a neighbour's property. We all know and love a Mr. M. Head over to his station, fellow North Queensland pastoralist. But I had several great northerns and goats with him and gave him a hand with his cows. They'd just been sorted out by the big bull Roy on his property. He's built and endowed just like our Canadian mate Roy. Shout out to Roy. Anyway, we watched several of the cows grow a pair of legs from their fannies, and a heap of new baby calves are now running around the station, much to the horror of my youngest daughter, who isn't quite ready for the birds and the bees and the cows with other cows growing out of their backside stories. So, yeah, good times, though. Good times on the land.
I've got to say, it's a bold thing to introduce your children to childbirth as a cow. Like, it's not one of the cleanest operations.
I didn't think much about it until the point of seeing a couple of hooves sticking out the end, and yeah, my youngest was terrified. So yeah, in second thoughts, I'll be a bit mindful as we grow our stock, and still, I've capped it at 8 chickens at the moment, just to ease her into farm life. But yeah, I think that's a good point.
You learn quickly on the land, don't you, Morgs?
You do. There's always something to do, and you learn quickly about root and stuff.
Are they vegetarians now?
No, they smashed tacos tonight. So I didn't explain that it came from one of the calves from M. Head's property. But interesting watching that thought process of, oh, wow, that just came out of that thing. So, yeah, very funny.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, tonight we introduce ourselves to an action icon. A character that we, and when I say we, I mean the globe, would spend the next 35 years idolising. John J. Rambo in 1982's First Blood. What a movie. It's going to be very difficult. Actually, I am not going to bother. I'm going out early, and I love this movie.
Mate, you were on social media today telling everyone how much you loved it.
I
didn't even make the start of this podcast.
I may have called it perfection.
Yes, you did.
Look, this movie was adapted from a book written by David Morrell. And again, this is one of the movies where I own in my house today the book, the VHS, the DVD, the Blu-ray, and the 4K release of First Blood. Now, that's some fandom.
That is true fandom, that.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I watched it again for this rewatch. I was really concerned because with this new eye, this Born to Watch eye that I'm casting over these movies we watched, I was seriously concerned that I may look at it with a different viewpoint. I didn't.
No, it's a great movie. Yeah. It's all time. I haven't watched this for quite a while, and watching it again last night was so good. The music, characters, it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, really good. Morgs, you got anything to add on First Blood?
I like sticking to the whole premise of the podcast that we talk about the film and then tell everyone what we think about it. So yeah, I'll just
you're going to hold your cards.
I'll holster my opinion like we agreed.
Okay. Well, look, starring Sylvester Stallone in one of his 2 life-defining roles. Rambo is a one-man war that you just do not want to get on the wrong side of.
I read this
Obviously-
week. Oh, hang on. Sorry, just an aside, but relevant. I read this week that his misso gave him the arse after 30 years of marriage or something this week.
Yes.
Is
yes.
that was
Jennifer
that true?
Flavin.
Was
yeah.
that true?
Yeah, read that today.
Apparently. I also
Yeah.
read that it was because
He
of
got a dog.
he got a dog. Yeah, so I mean that's a bit rough. Like it's just it was a Doberman or something like that, and he wanted a new dog, and she said, "I want half your cash." So I don't know. That was weird, but yeah, good sort. Back in the day, he had about 40 years on her or something ridiculous.
Yeah, she's 54, I think, and he's 76.
Right.
At the moment, yeah. But,
How many
yeah,
years
I think
is that, Whitey?
A lot, as Anthony Moon would say, a lot.
No,
lot of
years. He got punted. Yeah, the new dog opened some old wounds, I think.
Yeah.
Plus, he had a tat on his right bicep of her, and then he covered it over with the old dog. But remember his dog Butkus?
Butkus, yeah.
Yeah,
From Rocky.
Yeah. So the story was that they tried to update it, and it didn't quite work. So they, when he retouched it up, so he had to put the dog over it. It's the only way they could fix it. But,
Well, you know why he's got that massive tat on his chest? It's because he's got like varicose veins all through his chest.
Right.
Yeah. So
okay.
he covered them up with
Is that just too much HGH?
possibly.
He loved a bit of HCH back in the day, didn't he, old Sly? Didn't he get busted?
He got busted in Australia.
Yeah,
he brought it in illegally.
He called us backward numbskulls because we weren't progressive enough to let him bring human growth hormone into the country. So he might have a point.
We'll get to the cast with Gauss shortly, but also starring Brian Dennehy as the king shit cop, Will Teasel.
Great line.
Yeah, great line. And Richard Crenna as the ultimately quotable Colonel Troutman.
Kind of a caricature, isn't he?
Mate, he is an absolute character. I've heard it on good authority from someone within the armed forces. Terrible beret wearing. Terrible beret wearing. Yeah. Look, this movie would spawn 4 sequels over the next 37 years, with each of them getting a little bit more ludicrous and going to many parts of the globe. But I must say, as much as I love First Blood, it's my favourite of the sequel, of all of them, of the franchise, my favourite. But God damn, that John Rambo, the 4th one, is something special.
Yeah, but that's just super violent, right? That movie,
God.
it's just full on.
And I don't want to talk too much. I'm absolutely certain we'll cover that. But there are just some quality scenes in that Rambo movie.
Yeah.
So good. Really, and love seeing that at the cinema. What a great experience in the cinema. As always, it's that time where we take a minute to praise ourselves. And we've got a couple of reviews. And I've got one from a great fan, Damo from Redland Bay. Buffy getting ploughed for 50 minutes. Kind of want to watch it now. I'm really enjoying listening to this crap.
Oh, that sums it up. Thanks, Damo.
That does.
It does sum it right up.
And then again, one more that I've got who is fast. I actually think that the next 2 are our 2 greatest fans of Born to Watch. And this one's from Johnny Bull. 3 weeks and 21 days. Absolutely the best fuck up to date. A lady beside me at the lights thought I was crying in my ute on the way to work. 5-star fuckwits. Oh my God.
Oh, that's excellent. Good work, Johnny.
We love Johnny
He's
Bull, mate. Tell your
fantastic.
mates, Johnny. Pass it on. I've also, last night, I got a message from the straight up swim fan of Dan, The Colour Purple. Again, if Johnny Bull's number 1 fan, I think that The Colour Purple is number 2, and we're loving her input onto the show. Now, The Colour Purple spent some time in the armed forces herself. And she sent me a note saying, I just fucking laughed and laughed at you boys. Quotable when Corey yells, you're a blood-sucking vampire. I'm telling Mum. I nearly wet myself at The Colour Purple in the beginning. So she's loving it. And then she said, I'm searching my photos. I have a pic of me and 2 other girls with Stallone T-shirts when we were first in the army. We were all Stallone mad. She has since sent me the photos of her in her Stallone Rambo T-shirts. She's right over it. She watched First Blood last night, straight after listening to The Lost Boys and hearing that First Blood was next up. She watched it last night. She's right ahead of the game.
Nice work. Good on you.
We love the colour purple.
Love
Thank
the
you.
perp. What's is the colour perp indicative of our audience listenership? Would she be bullseye? Are we playing strong with ex-armed forces women with a
Possibly.
penchant for Stallone t-shirts?
Possibly.
What's the go? I don't dive into on the line stats, but
She's a huge supporter. She has shared it on her Facebook, so maybe we'll get some ex-armed forces ladies with a penchant.
That's pretty hot.
So, Gow, tell us about the movie.
Here we go. First came the man, a young wanderer in a fatigue coat and long hair. Nobody knew his name was Rambo. All they knew was that he was a stranger and that he looked like trouble. Rambo was trouble. The army had trained him in the art of killing, and now he did not know how to stop. This story pits a young Vietnam veteran against a small-town cop who doesn't know who he's dealing with, or how far Rambo will take him in a life-and-death struggle through the woods, hills, and caves of rural America.
That's the worst synopsis that I've heard.
Yeah.
That says nothing about this movie. What do you mean he's trained to kill and he can't stop?
Well, this is actually from an early one, which covers in the book. So, Have you read the book?
Yeah, I've read the book.
Right.
Yeah.
So the book is a lot more about him being more of a psychopath.
Yes.
And not, didn't have the ending that this movie does, which we'll get into later.
Yeah.
But it's more about how he loses it once he gets poked.
It's more about the book's more about the PTSD. It really dives deep into the.
But they poke the bear, but he kills everybody in the book, right?
Yes.
So it's more about that side of it.
Yeah.
So that's where this one comes from.
Yeah.
So
Fair
that's
enough.
why it's different to what the movie is.
Did the author of the book, did he create the slip-on shoes that you used to love in the 90s, Gow, that you used to get at Payless down at the mall?
Well, they rip off of the Merrills. They rip off of the Merrills, yeah. The Morals.
Used
the Morals,
used to run those, the lace-free olive green Merrills. So he's quite diverse, diversifies his interests, old David Merrill.
Yeah, I used to run them, yeah.
What do you got on now?
Gow's graduated to Crocs.
Oh, mate, Crocs are cool now. Post Malone made them cool as.
Post, give me a break. Stop. Let's listen to the trailer.
John Rambo, a drifter, just passing through their town.
Morning. Headed north or south?
North.
Now jump in. I'll make sure you head in the right direction, huh?
You got someplace I can eat around here?
There's a diner about 30 miles up the highway.
Is there any law against me getting something here?
Yeah, me. I want you to book this gentleman for vagrancy, resisting arrest, carrying a concealed weapon.
They knew he was innocent.
Starting to dislike you. A lot.
And they didn't give a damn.
That's okay, Warren. Don't worry about the soap. He's tough. Just shave him. Dry.
Don't move. I don't want you to cut your own throat.
John Rambo, one man who's been pushed too far.
You're finished! You've gone as far as you're gonna go! Heading straight for the top. Right on top of him. There's no way out of here except through us.
He was hunted. Trapped.
There he is! On the cliff!
And forced to fight back.
Don't push it. Don't push it. I'll give you a war you won't believe.
Teasel, you and all your men couldn't handle him before. Now, what makes you think you can handle him now?
Because God knows what damage he's prepared to do.
You don't seem to want to accept the fact that you're dealing with an expert in guerrilla warfare.
Are you telling me that 200 men against your boy is a no-win situation for us?
You send that many, don't forget one thing. A good supply of body bags.
Sylvester Stallone. This time, he's fighting for his life. First blood.
Another great 80s trailer. And that's a bit better than a synopsis, I think.
Way better than the synopsis.
Way better. Now, look, let's talk about how this movie rates. I know this is Morgs' favourite part, and he'll probably go on mute and not listen to anything we say here. But on IMDb, this is 7.7 out of 10. Yep, okay, I'll take it. On Rotten Tomatoes, another certified fresh film at 86% on the tomato meter and an 85% audience score. What do you think about that, Morgs?
Did they have other vegetables that they used to rate things, or is it just the tomatoes?
No, they tried gherkins, but they went with tomatoes in the end.
Yeah, I don't know. IMDb, I do put a bit of faith in. You usually don't go wrong if you get an over 7 film, although I told Nick Torpey it had to be over 8 and he blew up deluxe. But yeah, I think, IMDb sounds about right.
Yeah, I think somewhere around that, well, I'm not going to give it away, but somewhere around that 8 out of 10, I think is quite fair for this movie.
No, what do you mean you're not going to give it away?
No, I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to give it. No,
right.
Well, you don't know what I'm going to rate it, and I have to wait until you guys rate it before I rate it, so that I know how easy it is to divide by 3. So
excellent.
That gives you time to get the phone calculator.
I've already
out
got
too.
the calculator out. I've actually bought an actual calculator this week, so I don't have to fumble with the phone. This is obviously the movie that created a franchise that would define a decade. It really did. The first 3 Rambo movies set the bar in the 80s for action. And as I said earlier, they got progressively crazier as they went on.
Oh, didn't they?
Yeah. But ultimately just as enjoyable. First Blood is a lean, mean fighting machine. Again, it's a movie with zero fat on the bone. Again, another movie that I wouldn't change one scene.
No, I remember it being longer.
Yeah.
Maybe because it was
man.
younger when I watched it.
97 minutes?
Yeah,
It's 97 minutes.
And when I was younger, I really thought it was, it tells the story more, but it's quite a quick movie when you get into it.
And not only that, as a young teenager, and as a younger man, there was that feeling of this movie is super violent.
Yeah.
Right? Now, one person dies in this movie. That's it. One person dies. And it's manslaughter at best, right? He throws the rock at the helicopter. The guy falls out.
The guy's leaning out the side.
Yeah, the guy's leaning out the side trying to kill him. Like it's not Rambo doesn't murder him, but there's one person that dies. That's it.
I know. I just remember being a kid and watching this, and when he takes his shirt off and he's got the scars all over him and the flashback scenes. Oh, I remember just thinking, this is full on.
How good are the flashback scenes?
Yeah, that's brutal, isn't it?
Yeah. So, Gow, why don't you tell us a bit about the cast?
We've already talked about Sly being, I mean, this was after Rocky, which he, that's where he really hit his straps. Do you know where he got his start? Have you heard about Rocky's, Sly Stallone's first movie?
Night Moves on Foxtel.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was a softcore porno called The Party at Kitty and Studs in 1970, which got re-released to The Italian Stallion. Got renamed The Italian Stallion after he became famous.
And then there was a sequel, Mr. Goodbar.
We'll get to that. There's 1 degree to Mr. Goodbar in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right, okay.
But he was paid $200 to play a sex-craved gigolo in that movie.
Wow.
So here's the plot of that movie.
Please do.
I saw this.
Please do.
He was Stud in this movie. Kitty and Stud are lovers. They enjoy a robust sex life, which includes fellatio and light S&M. Specifically, Stud belt whipping Kitty. 3 women come up for a party and Stud services them, one after the other.
Is that it?
Oh, there's more. I won't go into that.
No, you don't need to.
No.
You don't need to.
But that was Sly's first movie, 1970.
I remember when I was offered a service in the woods on the Common in the UK when I was absolutely blind and did the run from the train and ended up in the woods. That was freaky.
Yeah, what were you doing in the woods when you got offered that service, Dan?
Well, I was looking for a facilities, a toilet block deep in the woods, and I did have my pants around my ankles, ready to take
unload.
A dump. And so, yeah, I'm sure the apparition that came out of the bushes thought that she was quite well within her rights to ask if I wanted a service. But anyway, I digress.
Righto. Okay.
Well, that will teach you to run away from your mates on a train.
Oh, but it was the best. I love that shit.
Hang on. Do you know what's the best? Talking about you guys traveling. We haven't done it for a whole podcast. This is the best.
I'll tell you what, you better fucking brace yourself.
We get so much with this podcast, but please go on.
Anyway,
let's go back to Sly.
76 in Rocky 2, 79. He was in Nighthawks.
Great movie, Rutger Hauer, Billy D. Williams.
Deke De Silva, 81, yeah. That's who he played.
Oh, I was gonna say, he's got such a good beard. Such a good beard.
He does good beard.
Mate, 81, he was in Escape to Victory. Have you guys seen that?
Great movie.
Cracking
Pele.
movie.
Michael
Love
Caine,
that movie. Yeah.
Pele.
And all those ex-soccer stars were in it.
Max von Sydow.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
movie. And I did not realise this, but 82 was First Blood, and so was Rocky 3.
Yeah.
They did that in the same year. I just always thought that was a different time frame. Always thought Rocky 3 was after that, but
Rocky 3. Is Rocky 3 the best of the Rockies?
yeah, it could be up there. Yeah.
That's a discussion for another podcast.
That we could have a whole discussion on all of those.
Yep.
And then he did probably his best work in 84 alongside Dolly Parton in Rhinestone.
Oh, God.
Did his own singing too. You write it there with Clint Eastwood and Paint Your Wagon. But yeah, that was a great song. But then
Simpsons,
look,
yes.
let's not go through it. The Tango and Cash, all the Rocky movies, Stop and Mum Will Shoot, another high point for him.
Oscar, another high point.
He did.
Do you know what he was
Copland.
really good in? Copland.
What?
Yeah,
Cop. I was just going to say that.
Oh, sorry,
And-
Booger.
No, but he was in Copland. He only got paid apparently $60,000 to do that because he was trying to
He was trying to break out.
break out
Yeah.
and become a serious actor.
Yeah. Freddie Heflin. He plays Freddie Heflin. Great movie. Super cast. James Mangold directs it. It's a super movie.
The late, great
Really
Ray Liotta.
Yes. Harvey Keitel. Yeah,
Yeah,
quality.
really good flick.
Yeah.
Worth a revisit,
really
that
good.
one for sure.
Definitely.
Another good one about Sly. I got another point. He was in 2005. He launched his own magazine. It was called
Sly Moves.
Sly. Came out monthly. He was on the cover of every magazine. Wrote most of the articles and interviews himself.
Interviews himself.
Sorry, wrote
Sly to
most of the
Sly.
interviews himself.
right.
Wrote them himself, not of himself.
Oh, my
But I'm
God.
pretty sure he was the main character in.
Oh,
all
for
of it.
sure. Sly on Sly.
Yeah.
The best. I got to say, he was a control freak. And I think it was his undoing in the end. Like he wanted to be all to everyone and do everything.
Yeah.
I think that was his undoing. But anyway.
He did a full frontal nude scene for Demolition Man. Do you know?
Oh,
Like,
when
it got cut out.
when it was when he was probably in the cry.
Yeah, it might have been at the start.
I got to say, it's hard for me to go past Sly as one of my favourite all-time actors.
Yeah, he's unreal.
I love him. He's so good. And I'm going to shout out to Goobs here, Adam G. Huge Sly fan. Huge Sly. Probably the biggest Sylvester Stallone fan I know. Absolutely loves him. Huge bromance with him. It's crazy.
Right. And this is a real movie too. Goobs would love it.
This is a real movie. This is a Gaberina movie.
Good on you, cowboy.
Yeah. Who's next?
Brian Dennehy is up next. Had a couple of early roles on Kojak and Serpico. Bit of one-off. His first movie, he played a surgeon. Guess what it was?
His first movie.
His first movie was a surgeon in it. We've already talked about it tonight.
Oh, really? It's in that porno?
No. Looking for Mr. Goodbar.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mate, it's 1 degree to Mr. Goodbar, I'm telling you.
Maybe we need to bring that in.
It might be. But he was also in Semi-Tough with Burt Reynolds and Chris Christopherson. That was a really good movie. I haven't seen that for forever, but I remember it being really good. That's a football movie. Obviously, First Blood, Gorky Park. He was in Cocoon, one of his bigger roles.
Follow the star
Down
down to Gorky Park, listening
Russia.
to the wind of change. This is why our podcasts are 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, good with
Return
the
to Snowy
Scorpions.
River was Harrison in that, presumed innocent.
Yes.
And he was in Romeo and Juliet.
Hang on. We're forgetting FX with
Oh,
Brian
yeah.
Brown.
Oh,
what a
with Brian
freaking
Brown.
great
Yeah.
movie.
Real good
FX
movie.
and FX2, great movies.
They really
I've got-
tried to break Brian Brown in Hollywood with his fucked up Aussie accent. And I mean, we all love the movies, but I'm not sure it translated so well to the international
Yeah,
stage.
he came across, it was really brash.
Mm.
It seemed like they were really forcing it on us. Like even
It
if
was
you think
jarring.
about Cocktail,
Yeah.
if in Cocktail it's really jarring.
Mm.
And then again, like they even later on when he's in Along Came Polly with Ben Stiller and Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes,
plays
yes.
the
As
squillionaire they're
boss.
trying to
Yeah.
they're trying to squillionaire is trying to ensure. Again, super ochre, like Crocodile Dundee kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Brian Brown. I think he's
Same. I think he's
I think he's
brilliant.
great.
Yeah, he's unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Big
He's
fan.
so good in Cocktail.
Oh, he's good.
Breaker Morant, great in that.
Oh, I
Brian
love
Coughlin.
Breaker Morant. Good
Breaker
fan,
Man.
G.
Actually, Great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot
superb
straight,
movie.
you
bastards,
bastards.
yeah.
Oh,
Edward
Cracking
Woodward.
ending.
Yeah, great movie.
So, but Brian Dennehy started acting first movies at the age, or first acting at the age of 39. How old do you reckon he was in this movie?
50.
42.
44.
Wow.
Oh,
He's younger than us.
Yeah.
Wow.
He looks 1,000.
Yeah. I tell you what, he looked 1,000 when he died, the poor fella.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a
44.
massive alcoholic.
Yeah,
Bloody hell.
44. So he'd only been acting for 5 years, got into it late, but
King shit cop.
yeah, king shit cop. He's good in this movie too.
Mate, he is excellent. I talk a bit about him in Good Bad, but
Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
he's fantastic in this. I can't believe he'd only been doing it for 4 years. That's crazy.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Richard Crenna. He actually came late to this movie because he was cast really late. Have you guys across that?
A little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Apart from being in First Blood, this was really his first big role. He was in The Flamingo Kid and the Rambo movies. He was in Leviathan.
Oh, God, that's a bad movie.
Yeah, and he was in Hot Shots Part 2. But he's been in heaps of TV movies.
Mate, he's in Murder, She Wrote.
Murder, She Wrote.
I've seen
I
him
think
in
he's been
Murder,
in
She Wrote.
Simon and Simon.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt.
Hardcastle and McCormick. He would have been on there for sure.
A-Team.
The A-Team. A few of them were in the A-Team.
He was Murdoch's dad.
He did a bit of jobbing after that. Did a lot
He
of
was a
jobbing.
jobber. He was a mass jobber.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, like, almost steals the movie, I reckon, Troutman. He's great as well. He's so corny, but so
It's
good.
it's really corny, isn't
His
it?
delivery
Yeah.
it's Nick Cage-like. It's so on the edge.
On the edge of being over the top,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, correct. There's one more, Gow.
There's
And you got to ask a question here. I know you do. And you better ask Dan.
What's the question?
Is it a cameo? Is it a cameo, Gow? Ask away.
David Caruso.
David Caruso's in this, Morgs. Is it a cameo?
Now-
Yeah, it's on the tip of Gow's tongue.
Made more money, made more fame in his later roles in TV. This is his first role.
Is
his
they-
his hair is fluorescent red in this film.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
It is strikingly Scottishly red.
Can I just
but-
pose a quick go? Oh, sorry, go, Morgs.
Oh no, I was just going to cut off the cameo question. Of course, fucking not.
No, of course it's not. Of course it's not, but we had to ask. Now, I'm just going to, just off the cuff here, ask a question about David Caruso. Did he make the dumbest decision in all of Hollywood?
Yes.
Leaving NYPD Blue.
Well-
Is it I think, hands down, the dumbest decision in the history of Hollywood.
I get
I
it,
think
though,
he's come out and
because-
said that, yeah.
Yeah, but back then there was such the distinction between TV actors and movie actors.
100%.
He just thought it was a step up to go and do Jade or whatever he did out of NYPD.
He did
Blue.
Jade.
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
Jade, which was terrible. And
Oh,
yeah, I think that was your only progression. You weren't going parallel across to another TV show to make it. He just thought, I've got to do this to become a movie star. And yes, in hindsight, he should have stayed getting the absolute big freight on the NYPD wedge. But yeah, balls it up massively.
Yeah, no, not a great.
He still came back, but that's where he's found his niche when he was on CSI. I mean, he's been on 3
Horatio
CSIs.
Caine.
Yeah. And with his corny one-liners. So
And with
he
his
found
glasses,
his niche.
the
yeah.
glasses, the turn,
Yeah.
the head tilt, and take the glasses off.
But mate, yeah, First Blood, An Officer and a Gentleman. He was in that as a young bloke. Topper
Yeah.
Daniels. He was in some good TV shows. He was in Chips and TJ Hooker.
Hooker.
Two favourites.
Mate,
Two
have
favourites.
you watched any TJ Hooker lately?
No.
I tell you what, do yourself a favour, both of you. Here's some homework for Born to Watch.
Is
In the next
Shatner
week-
is he a little overweight in TJ Hooker?
A little
Yeah.
overweight,
Mm.
and it is incredible. You absolutely need to get onto YouTube and watch some episodes of TJ Hooker. You'll be blown away.
How good? What a good show.
Awesome.
Adrian's Med.
Oh, God.
Awesome.
Bachelor Party.
Yeah.
Oh, that's coming soon. That's coming soon.
Now, listen, I've got one more person in the movie. Doesn't have a huge role, but his name's Bill McKinney.
Bill McKinney, yeah.
Now, Bill McKinney played the
He's the head
cop,
of
the
he's-
state trooper,
Yeah, state trooper, head of the state troopers.
right? That Dave that he talks to in the tent when they come out of the mountain. So, do you know what Bill McKinney is famous for as a role?
I know his face, and I'm going to go, oh, my God, when you tell me.
Morgs, do you know?
No, I also know his face,
Right.
so I'm looking forward to this.
I'm gonna
He's in
give
a
you-
Western?
I'm gonna give you 4 words.
Yeah.
Squeal like a pig.
Oh, Deliverance. He's the one of the,
Oh.
he's one of the two guys.
Yep.
He's one of the two guys.
Yeah, he's one of the two
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
right? So that was what 1972.
Oh, God, right, yeah.
Yeah. So there was Herbert Coward, who was the
yes.
other guy.
Yep.
So yeah, look, I only brought him up because he was in Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. He was in the Outlaw Josie Wales.
He was. I remember him from Josie Wales. Outlaw Josie Wales, definitely. He's the baddie.
He did a lot of stuff with Clint Eastwood. He was in both Every Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way You Can. But I just bring that up because that's such a role. He was actually looked at. Stanley Kubrick wanted him for the role of the drill instructor in Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then when he was about to fly to London to meet him, but then Kubrick went, "No, I can't meet that guy. Like it's too full on. Yeah, it's too brutal.
He's going to try and bang him."
So it's too terrifying. So he brushed it. Yeah. And it went up to Ali Ermey after
Ali Ermey. Well, actually went to someone else.
Oh, did it?
Actually went to someone else, and that guy's actually in the movie. He's the doorway gunner in the helicopter when he's shooting all the guys running through the rice paddies. He's a psychopath, and he was actually cast. And Ali Ermey was the
he was
the guy who was overseeing. He was overseeing because he's an actual drill instructor.
Yeah,
and they saw him do stuff, and they would go, "Oh, maybe we'll just have this guy do it because he's way better."
Yeah.
It should have gone to Inspector Todd.
Oh, Inspector Todd.
Private Pile, I'm sick of your bullshit.
You still got a little bit of ass there.
How good's Inspector Todd?
Oh, so good. So good.
All right, G, what's next?
Well, we've been through David Morrell as the writer of the book.
Yep.
It was directed by Ted Kotcheff, who did Uncommon Valor, Weekend at Bernie's, The Shooter with Dolph Lundgren. Not much else than that, so we can gloss over that.
Yeah.
But the year was 1982. Got a few things for you here, boys. 1982, what were you doing?
Well, I was 7.
Not a lot.
Yeah, not a lot. I wouldn't have seen this at the movies.
I was doing plenty. I was in
Mrs.
Johnson's
Here we go.
grade 2 class at Dornburn Primary School on the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. I was elite level for AFL basketball, cricket, and hockey. I got really sick in grade 1, and all of my classmates drew a picture to show me that Hillel Laz put a Spitfire on Nick DiPietro's arm and stung him, and they all drew it on various crayon versions of poor old Nick DiPietro copping it from a Spitfire. So yeah, it's a pretty good year. Movies though, I think the only movie that sticks out from me seeing at the cinema that year was Fantasia, which is fairly trippy kids cartoon.
Yeah, the Disney.
Walt Disney. But I was thinking, what else? Because E.T. was what, 83?
No, E.T. was 82.
Sorry, mate. Okay,
82.
I would have seen E.T. at the cinema as well.
Yeah.
Then as well.
I saw E.T. at Coleroy Cinema. I
Did
remember
you?
watching it at Coleroy. Yeah.
Did Roy Mustaka own Coleroy one then?
Probably.
I think he actually came and said, "Yes, I love you, E.T."
Yeah.
Did he say, "Welcome to E.T"?
He said, "E.T. phone home." I'll let you know a secret here. So, out of the three of us, would you say, and I don't want to preempt anything, would you say I'm the one that's probably the biggest movie guy here out of the three of us?
You like the most shit movies, yes.
Yes, okay, perfect. That's what I was looking for. I did not see E.T. till I was 19.
Wow. That's
and
unbelievable.
And do you know why I did not see E.T. till I was 19?
For the same reason you haven't watched Breaking Bad or seen The Wire. You have these absolute blank spots in your viewership that just don't equip you to be a world-class critique.
I have seen E.T. now, and I've probably made up for lost time with it as well, but I did not see E.T. because E.T. overtook Star Wars as greatest box office taker, and I was so pissed off at E.T.
Really?
that I refused to watch the fucking movie.
Okay, that's a good reason. All right, let's stay strong. Yeah.
There we go. That's it.
I mean, let's go through some movies. And Tootsie, An Officer and a Gentleman, Gandhi, which won everything that year. Everything. It won, I think, 8. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Screenplay. Sophie's Choice, Meryl Streep, Best Actress.
Brutal.
Rocky 3, Poltergeist, Porky's. Great all-time movie.
That's a big favourite of yours, Gow.
Yeah, love it. Not sure it stood the test of time, but anyway. 48 Hours.
Great movie.
Blade Runner.
Great movie.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Tron.
Well, that's Solo
movies,
Pod.
both of them. Yeah.
Dan Solo Pod for Fast Times at Ridgemont.
Everyone
Man
out
from
there,
Snowy River.
You can tune into the Solo Pod in the coming weeks. It'll be absolutely mind-blowing. Man from
yeah,
Snowy
what is it,
River
The
is a good Australian movie.
It's an
enjoy
awesome
watching
movie.
that.
So
It's an
Yeah.
I
awesome
think we
movie.
spoke about Man from Snowy River, but I saw that at Hoyt's Twin with my dad.
Really?
No shit. Yeah, wow,
and,
that's awesome.
And because I think we talked about it on the Thing podcast, 82, and Tom Burleson used to come in the video shop.
Oh,
Mate,
really?
I've,
Okay, yeah, of
I've
course.
been up
yeah.
in the high country with the Brumbies, and they are scary, scary beasts to this day. They don't give. I've been on there on my dirt bike, and you would think that any animal would just rear and get away from me, just cutting absolutely sick on my dirt squirter. But they just eyeball you and flare their nostrils and just go, "Little pea man, I can see you riding it like a man, but you don't intimidate me." So yeah, I'm really good at dirt bikes.
They're the only things that have seen you ride it like a man, mate. You are one of the 3 worst motorbike riders.
Well,
I was
as
gonna
long as
ask
you're
you
the
more-
worst.
No, and I am the worst. I am the worst.
Oh, Barley's never seen better.
Barley's never seen better.
Oh,
Barley's
wow.
never seen
Oh,
better.
one of the greatest stories ever.
I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky to be here. I was nearly a statistic.
The guy that owned the bike didn't think you were.
Mate, the
He
guy
thought
had
you
the
were
bike had
gone.
a heart attack.
But
So I got
anyway, one more movie that year, which probably tops all of them, and it stars Adrian Zmed. Grease 2.
Oh,
hit movie.
Michelle
Terrible.
Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
And Adrian Zmed. And one of the worst follow-up movies you'll ever see.
Yeah,
It's funny
awful.
because obviously R.I.P. Olivia Newton-John, there's been a lot of news about Grease in the news lately.
Yep.
And the talk has always goes to Grease 2. There's been a lot of people coming out of the woodwork going about how good it is, and I think they're
my
all
God.
idiots.
Yeah,
It's awful.
pathetically bad.
Yeah, it's not great.
When I had the video shop, I had a couple of people that would come in religiously to either hire or talk about Grease 2. Again, it was very similar to the Twilight hirers, where I just flash them on my bald head and hope they had late fees.
Take their freight.
Simple as that.
Take
Yeah.
the freight and hope they forgot they hired it.
Exactly right.
Speaking of 82, some great songs in
Hit
that
me.
year.
Oh, yes.
Well, going
G-Man.
back to Olivia Newton-John, one of the top songs, Physical.
Physical.
Physical
a film
82.
clip. What a film clip.
And one out of this genre, Eye of the Tiger, of course, survives.
Oh, Foreigner.
Cracking song
Still
to
holds-
this day.
To this day. To this day.
Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. You know what song that is?
Is it I Love Rock and Roll?
Yes, well done.
Fuck, how good am
well
I?
done. Yeah. Paul McCartney, Ebony and Ivory.
One of your
Oh,
favourites.
with
And
Michael
shout
Jackson.
out
Yeah.
to the Bowral Buyers Agent.
Yeah, shout out.
I've seen many a karaoke
We've sung that a
performance
couple of
with
times
that,
up there.
with the G-Man and Bowral Buyer.
Good flick.
The J. Giles Band.
Yeah.
Oh,
Centerfold.
Centerfold.
Yeah, cracker. And then a couple of really good ones. John Cougar, Jack and Diane. I love that song. And Hurt So Good.
Yeah. Johnny Cougar.
Steve Miller Band, Abracadabra.
Oh,
Abracadabra. And one of your favourites, Whitey, hard to say I'm sorry, Chicago.
Hold me now. One of the great songs.
Hall and Oates, I can't go for that.
I
I can't go for that. How's good are Hall and Oates?
The best.
They're awesome.
They're amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing.
So good.
Amazing.
But yeah, big year 82. That was the year that Ozzy Osbourne bit the head off the bat
bat.
on stage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's a lunatic.
Prince William was born 82. Big year.
Yeah. Well done, Gal. Well done.
Yeah,
All right.
that's good. I'm sorry, I'm stuck in a nostalgia trip at the moment. Just,
Yeah.
I'll be out for a couple of minutes.
Gal, why don't you tell us about the gross?
I will tell you about the gross. First Blood grossed $125 million worldwide.
Oh, what was the budget?
It was, and that's just $51 million domestically in the US and Canada against a $15 million budget. That's how big this movie was in 82.
That's massive. Anything
Yeah,
over
huge.
100 million is in 82 is
Huge.
phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Topped the box office for 3 weeks in a row, and 6.6 million opening weekend is the best October opening of all time. Oh, sorry, at the time.
Is it R rating, I'm guessing?
Yes, I
Yes,
believe it
that's our
was. Yeah,
rating.
Yeah.
Definitely.
went massive in China too, and was the highest ticket sales for a foreign Hollywood film up until 2018
In
Right.
China.
in
Wow.
China. Yeah, massive movie. I mean, if we look at the biggest movie was E.T. at the worldwide box office was 796. million.
Wow.
Tootsie was 177. Officer and Gentleman 129. Gandhi 127. First Blood 125.
So,
Rocky 3 was 125 as well.
so hang on. You're telling me that E.T. did 6 times more than next best movie. About
Domestic box office for E.T. was 439 million.
People saw E.T. 4, 5, 6 times.
Yeah,
Multiple
absolutely.
times.
What a great movie. It was amazing. There was one of the great cinema experiences of my life in 82.
I thought most people didn't see it till they were 19.
Oh, so good.
All right. Well, enough about that. So over and under. I'm going to set the bar pretty high here. I'd be interested to see what you say. This movie is 40 years old. I'm saying over and under 60. I'm over 60.
I reckon I've got to be. I've seen this movie so many
I
times.
reckon you would be.
Yeah, got to be.
I reckon
Got to
you
be.
would be. It's 40 years old, this movie.
Yeah.
Morgs, what do you reckon?
I
see you thinking.
Yeah, I don't think I'm over 60. I don't know where this was in my view. I've obviously seen it many times, but it doesn't strike me as something I've seen that many times. So I'm going to say under.
Hold on, Morgs. This isn't one of the 4 that was in your rotation?
No, not in my 4. Not in my 4.
Oh, really? It's supposed to be the first week.
Yeah, most weeks they're in my 4.
For the last 10.
The last 13
there's
weeks,
been
every
14.
film's been in the 4.
There's been 14 in his top 4.
Yeah. Shout out to
Okay,
Damo.
question.
Good on you, Damo.
Okay, question time. Is Rambo Stallone's most iconic character? Well, it's only one of 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no.
Jeez, that's tough. Yeah.
No, I'd say Rocky.
Yeah, I'd go
where
with
I think
Rocky.
of Stallone.
Yeah. I think Rocky's his most iconic. Definitely. Okay, well done.
I would say this as an opening movie is better than Rocky as an opening movie. Although I did like them both.
I don't think so. I think Rocky's a better movie than this.
I really like this movie.
I love this movie, but I think that, yeah, well, I don't know.
Is that despite the
Rocky.
Academy Award?
I think Rocky's a better movie than this.
So
Okay.
I just did Sick Boy in Train Spotting for you, and neither of you picked up on it. Fuck off.
Sorry, mate. Gao and I were having a conversation in the studio.
I thought he put you on mute.
Yeah, I hope. Okay. I know we may cover this a bit later, but what the hell was Teasel's problem with Rambo in the first place?
Right. So you've read the book.
Yeah.
So this was that, and if you notice, this Teasel was a Korean War veteran. And if you notice when he goes back into his office after he comes down out of the mountain the first time and sits in his office, his medals are behind him on the shelf. But the whole point was, which they cut out of the movie, was that the Korean War veterans didn't get, like, they'd been forgotten by this stage. And the Vietnam vets were...
But the Vietnam vets were forgotten as well.
Well, not forgotten, but they copped a lot more grief. But his whole issue was that this guy had been to the Vietnam War and he didn't get...
But it's never explained, you know what I mean? Like,
No.
I think it's got to be a huge leap to look up and go, well, he was a war vet. Wouldn't there be some sort of respect there?
Well, I think the movie just cut that out because the original of this movie was 3.5 hours long.
I'd love to see a 3.5 hour.
And apparently Sly said, I hate this. It makes me sick. And didn't want to release it. And they cut it down to 97 and they were really happy with it. But he wasn't happy with it at all. So I think there's a lot that obviously gets cut out.
Okay. You know what? I'm with Teasel on this because as a member of Generation X, we're the Korean War of generational people because Gen X is just forgotten. We just get on with it. No one really talks about us. we just do our own thing. We move up to the land. We become pastoralists. But the boomers cop all the shit for raping the earth and taking all the freight. And then all the millennials, they're avocado toast and waste all their freight and don't really like to work and want a promotion after 2 weeks and stuff. And yeah, we're just forgotten Gen X. So yeah, we're the Korean War fighters of our day.
Yeah, okay. Well played. Nice, Morgs. Okay. The National Guard. Are they as hopeless as what they're made out in most movies? Because the National Guard is shithouse. In saying that, I think all three of us have just probably watched Trainwreck, the Woodstock 99 doco.
Yes.
And they seem pretty fucking badass in that movie.
They
came in like...
Yeah.
They came in like the German bloody stormtroopers and just cleaned house in Woodstock.
Stormtroopers, exactly. Yes, I think they're terrible in Generation Kill, as you remember. That's when there's a brigade of them that come up on the Generation Kills company and they're particularly shithouse as well. So I think it's a reasonably common trope about the National Guard being particularly poor. But if you look at the Woodstock guys, they were pretty quick with their batons.
Mate, they took no shit. They took no shit. They whipped them right in the shape. Whipped them right in the shape. In saying that, those poor fuckers, they were in no shape for anything.
Man.
Yeah.
On that
They
Sunday
were ready
night,
to take it on.
On that Sunday night, they were done. They were tapping
we
out.
spoke about this last week, didn't we? You've got to watch that Woodstock 99 doco. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
definitely.
But,
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. The National Guard are set up as comedic foils often, but not quite sure where they sit.
So let's slide into the categories. And we'll start with the good, the bad, the ugly, where we talk about the stuff that we thought was good about the movie, the stuff that we thought was bad about the movie, and surprisingly, the stuff we thought was ugly. And I reckon we're going to start with Gow today. What you got for the good, mate?
For the good, I mean, obviously the whole movie's good, and I just really love the scene in the mountains when they first chase him into the mountains. I remember watching that as a kid. Yeah, so and after they get up there, when it gets to when the storm comes in, and they're in the mountains, and they're saying, we're hunting him. He's like, we're not hunting him. He's hunting us.
Yeah.
And and the dogs go, and you hear the dogs get taken out, and then he shoots them in the leg, and then he takes them all down one by one. I just remember watching that, thinking back, going, "Oh, this is so tense and so." I love that scene.
Yeah,
I think it's really good. I think the only thing I think for me was because his character's so quiet. He's that doesn't have much dialogue in the movie, but when he's trying to jump off the cliff and he slides down, and the screams when he's like, "Oh!" It's so real.
Yeah. And
when he jumps in the tree and hurts himself, those yelps of pain to me so realistic.
Yeah. Well, a real person did that.
Okay.
Like a real person jumped. Like that's a real person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just that sound, like his sound, it's that guttural scream. I really, that realism for me was like, real movie.
Yeah, real movie.
Yeah, could I
Field of Dreams.
Let me pause you there. At those mountains, we had a pretty close-up look of those mountains, didn't we? Because we've actually been to Hope. We did the pilgrimage to Hope, especially because we were big fans of this movie, and we've actually been there a couple of times. So, what's your memories of Hope?
Oh, I loved it. I remember we were looking for the police station in there.
We were,
trying to find. I mean, it was years after that, but yeah, we were scouring around, and I mean, Hope's not a huge town, but it is cut down there between the mountains. It's such a picturesque place to be. I mean, we went through there a few times. We were a few times there, weren't we? More?
We did, and for everyone at home, spoiler alert, but it's not. There's a lot of speculation that Hope is in the Pacific Northwest of the States because it's obviously filmed as if it's a US town, but it's actually in British Columbia in Canada. So it's over the border, and it was shot over there because it was cheaper to film, essentially, because they gave tax breaks to producers. So a little bit of film insider knowledge for you there. But
they set it in Hope, Washington, though, didn't they?
That's
Which is
right.
not too far. Like Washington's not too far away.
I just need to clarify something here.
Yeah.
Did you guys do some traveling together?
Yeah. And to have been to the place where this iconic
have you got
film
anything
has
else?
been.
You'd have to
got anything else?
I'd say that you'd have to call us true movie fans to make that pilgrimage, and anyone that didn't had the chance to make that pilgrimage and didn't, you would question their movie fandom. But no, I think that's about it.
You would.
Okay, have you got anything else? Yeah.
No, I'll sit there for now.
Okay, Morgs, what do you got?
Yeah, I had a couple of things. So I really like the escape from the jail lockup. That scene, and when he comes out and steals the motorbike, I think that is just fantastic. The way
how good's the shimmy he does in the middle of the road?
I was exactly thinking about the shimmy, but it's brilliant body acting. Like he doesn't say a word, and yet it's just fantastic. There was a bit of a head. It reminded me on the touch footy field, like you didn't know if I was going left or right. It was a fantastic feint.
You didn't know either.
No, that's just a brilliant action scene.
But just on that scene though, how good is the bit when he's getting fingerprinted and then he tries to clean his fingers of the ink? Don't you do that? Like he's brilliant.
It's
so
a
good
really that whole jailhouse scene is really good. And then my other good was unashamedly a fan of Brian Dennehy in this movie. I just think he's fantastic. He plays
a great character.
He's not like the copper that died when he fell out of the helicopter. Yeah, he was just pure evil. Like there was no arc to his character, whatever. He was just an absolute f-wit. And
the man said, clean him up.
But Brian Dennehy was obviously an antagonist to Sly's character, but there was definitely he had a lot more depth to his character, and it was what you felt like he was he thought he was doing the right thing by keeping people out of his small town, and you kind of understood the motivations for his character. And I think Brian Denny, he just played it amazingly. And to hear that he was 44 years old and looked 100, and B, only 4 years into his acting career, I just think are incredible.
Yeah, I agree. He wasn't an out and out bad character.
No,
he had his good points, and you're right. He was on the wrong side, but you could see he had his good points. Have you got anything for good, Whitey?
Yeah, I've got a few things for good. I've got about 30 points, actually.
Speed points.
Speed points. Rambo's jacket. Love it.
Awesome.
Love the jacket.
Awesome.
Lost it early too.
We've all had a army jacket in our life.
Love the jacket.
Rambo.
Absolutely love the jacket.
Oh, you had one that you loved, didn't you?
Not only that,
I wore it all the time.
next level on jackets, love
Yeah.
Teasel's jacket.
Yeah.
The sheepskin.
The sheepskin.
Also
Oh,
excellent.
mate, what a jacket.
I've had one of those as well.
What a jacket.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Sly as an actor. Yeah, you mentioned before how he's very quiet, but he's got amazing range in this film. And you can see from the first scene when he goes down to Delmar Barry's place and he talks to his wife, and just the whole change in his demeanor, where he's full of hope. No pun intended. He wants to see his mate, and he goes there, he finds out that he's dead, and just you can see his heart break on the spot. He's a much better actor than what he's given credit for, Sylvester Stallone.
The final scene.
Yeah,
that breakdown scene.
Yeah, that is incredible.
And he fought to get that in the movie. They didn't want that.
Yeah, that is incredible.
But that is amazing. That makes the movie,
Actually got a message from another great fan from across the Dutch in New Zealand, Adam Strang. And he said that exact thing. He watched First Blood a couple of weeks ago and said the end monologue from Sylvester Stallone is next level. I agree. He's so good in this film. I had the police station scene. Troutman, I had ultimately quotable. And just to blow a bit of sunshine up you guys' asses, the Town of Hope. Like, what a place. That bridge when he's coming in, the mountains, the backdrop, everything, right?
Stunning.
Everything. Again, I've got Brian Dennehy. So good. Just next level. And I think you've already mentioned it, Gal, but the traps that he sets in the woods.
yeah.
And that set in place a trope for every Rambo movie where there was traps.
What about when he gets the sticks through the legs?
Mate, it's the spikes. Oh, mate, it's just so
Will!
Yeah.
Will!
It was like the horizontal punji sticks.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like they're all crying for their dad too, and they're all going, Will!
Yeah. And I love it just when he gets Teasel and just has,
let it go.
Let it go. Yeah. Mate,
Could have
this
killed
movie
you.
is so good. So good. That's about it. That's all I've got. I love the movie. The whole movie's good. What do we got for bad? Morgs? Let's start with Morgs.
A couple of things for bad that just stood out for me. The cave scene when he goes into the mine and the National Guard are there ready to blow him to Kingdom Come. He escapes into the interior of the cave and he's in the water with the rats. He's wearing a piece of canvas and
Hessian bag.
Hessian bag, and tied with a rope. That water, having been to Hope and knowing how cold it is at street level, that water would have been absolutely freezing glacial water. He would have had hypothermia within 17 seconds.
Yeah.
And it also, that whole scene brought back some PTSD of my own. I went caving at uni in my incredible uni course, and I've never been that proud of myself that I've done anything brave, but I found out that I was claustrophobic 30 meters underground in a cave where I got caught crawling through this cave system, and I was that's the scariest I've ever been. It's literally the bravest thing I've ever done, and not a great time to discover the claustrophobia. But yeah, that brought back flashbacks of how shit cave systems are, and but yeah, I'm not buying that Sly made it out of that. He would have died in that water.
You're pretty brave, Morgs. Didn't you jump off the blowhole that time?
No, never did that.
No, he didn't.
No,
he did not.
No. I may do it in the future, but no, I haven't done it yet. And
you might.
The only other thing that I've got in bad is I think when he steals the truck at the end or towards the end when we get into the final third, and there's that sort of the comedic moments when he tells old mate to watch the road because that's how an accident happened. I felt it was just out of character. It didn't need it. The movie didn't need it. It wasn't any, and obviously in follow up movies, there's the calls where he drops it. It's a big point of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies where he drops the funny one line. It's like it just felt like it wasn't part of this movie. This movie is too serious, too dramatic, wasn't necessary. So that just struck out as bad to me. And obviously, I'm being very picky, but it was not necessary and off character.
Gow, what about you, mate?
Well, I'm going to roll into that, Morgs, because that's a couple of the bad point for me is when he's in that truck, he jumps in the truck, he takes off. He comes to the blockade, and they set up 5 cop cars around him, and they all shoot at him, and he busts through with the M60 in the back, and then they all just shoot at him, fleeing off. And then
where they go?
No one chases him.
Where do they go?
No one chases the guy who they've been after for days.
Yeah.
And then on the way out on the bike, it only took him 10 minutes to get there, but when he gets to town, it's dark.
Yeah.
So it changes, by the time he gets there, and it's all dead quiet in the town. You know, it's out of sync.
Yeah, it is a bit weird. That is a little bit weird.
And the other one was at the end that, he's shooting up the town for quite a while. And why does it take them all to get to the police station? Like all the other cops to get around.
Yeah, I don't know why there's no police in the town.
Yeah.
Because I've got, just on that point, this is opposite to the last few movies we've done because there's a shit ton of cops in this small town, right?
Yeah, there is.
Not at the end, though. They weren't there at the end.
But then they just disappear.
Yeah.
But then there's a million of them outside when he comes back outside. So it's like, well, okay, they're there when you need them and
because they said there's 200-odd cops out in the mountains, and then I figured when they thought he was dead, all the Army Reserve, everyone goes home. But then they said there's so many outside again when he comes to town. Anyway, that's a little, but that just carries on from where Morgs was.
Yeah.
The other only bad thing was when Galt dies, when he's trying to shoot him out of the chopper, and Galt's yelling at the chopper captain, and he's got no headset on. Right, and they're talking like it's and there's a chopper ahead. But anyway, that's a small thing.
Yeah, Morgs is going to love this, and I reckon Morgs actually might have this in Ugly. But the Dan Hill song that bookends the movie, the start of the movie where it's the instrumental version of the song is amazing.
Yeah,
it's emotional. It's really, really good. As much as I love this song, and I do love this song, this is probably the one thing when I listen to it again, the lyrics grate the song. Like it becomes grating, and it doesn't suit the end of the movie.
Is that a lot? It's a long road.
It's a long road.
It's a long road.
It just seems to be out of place. I think as an instrumental callback throughout the film, it's next level. But I think the song at the end is a bit poor. Morgs?
I had it in Ugly because it's a it's a lot more than a bit poor. It is completely heinous. So Dan Hill, you would know as the Sometimes When We Touch.
Yeah.
That's his song. So he can write some banger tracks. But let me just, I know this isn't the Stan Bush Kick-Ass Credits segment, but let me just sing a bit of this Dan Hill song to you. So this is The Long Road.
Yeah.
It's a long road when you're on your own, and it hurts when they tear your dreams apart. And every new town just seems to bring you down. Trying to find peace of mind can break your heart. It's a real war right outside
your front door, I'll tell you.
Out where they'll kill you. You could use
a friend.
Okay, so
it's not great.
We've written some songs for Stan Bush Kick-Ass Credit songs. Would take between 2 to 5 minutes to write. They are much better than A Long Road by Downhill. It is fucked, and it ruins the end of that film. Like, it is just pathetically bad and ugly.
Well, it's funny you say that because I actually think tonight's Kick-Ass Credit song is worthy of the end of this movie.
Excellent.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like
excellent.
that. So,
I like the confidence.
But we'll let the public be the judge.
Like the confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So look, for Ugly,
can we brush the ugly? There is no ugly.
Yeah. Look, I've got one. I got one thing. I've got Rambo's obvious stuck-on moustache in the Vietnam flashbacks.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I've got. Morgs, what else?
I'm sorry, but I've got some takes that are going to be controversial amongst all the fanboys for this film. But when I watched this film last week when we were doing it for this, the start of the film, I was like, Oh my God, I love this film. This is incredible. I've always loved this film. This is great. But basically when it gets into the third act, I just think it goes off the rails. And the monologue that you guys have referenced a couple of times as being so good, I think it's completely unnecessary and shit. And I think that Sly, you mentioned before how great an acting performance he puts in the first act, where he's got his dialogue. He must say about 15 words total, but we know everything we need to know about that character. He is brilliant when he is just gutted when he goes to visit the last of his mates from his platoon in Vietnam are dead. It's incredible. Sly is doing his best work in that. But by the third act, that we don't need that monologue. We know just from his performance in all of the other scenes how much of a shit time he's had and what's driven him to the edge and why he's pushed back on Teasel and how badly he's been treated. It just seems superfluous. And it's also made worse by the fact that you can't understand Sly, what he's saying. I'm going to stab you. You don't even know what he's talking about. So I was,
no legs.
That's it. It was the first time that I've noticed it, and I was really let down by that particular monologue. And I know it's a rough take, and I know most people disagree, but yeah, I think
I love
ugly.
it.
And
Nothing is over.
Exactly. I just don't think we need
You just
it.
don't turn it off.
I think it's a better film without it. I think we already
Really?
as audience members, we are not stupid. We know how much this guy's gone through, and the flashbacks show it. I mean, he's been tortured. He's obviously suffering from PTSD. It's just unnecessary, and just I think a bit of a narcissistic thing by Sly with adding that in, so he gets this what he thought was incredible monologue. But yeah, just not needed. The other thing I thought was ugly on the rewatch, and it's not his fault because Richard Crenna came in 2 weeks prior to the film. He was a late replacement, but I think his dialogue is so on the nose and so over the top, and could have been handled so much better. That it's just he talks in bad quotes. Like every single line that comes out of his mouth is a corny, on the nose, cheesy quote. He could have been because you understand that obviously, he's obviously a big exposition guy as well, and explaining to us why Sly's like he is, why Rambo's like he is, and what Crenna's relationship is with Troutman's relationship is with Rambo. But I think it could have been written a lot better, and it just in this viewing and being on our road to becoming very lowbrow critics, I just was really struck by how bad that dialogue was. So that combined with The Long Road by Dan Hill were my 3 uglies.
Yeah,
Nice.
Dan, remember one thing.
Yeah.
If you send that many people in there, you're going to need a good supply of body bags.
That's what I mean. Like, it's not like that dialogue would work well.
It's like feeding the pigeons to the cat, mate.
Rambo,
as bad as you hate it, I love it.
Rambo 2, the second one.
Yeah,
all of that would have fit
Part
brilliantly. It would have been seamless with the tone and would have worked well. First Blood, the first 2/3 of it are a fantastic, emotive, brilliant movie, and I just think it's really let down. And Crenna, and I know and doing research for the flick, I sort of thought, does anyone agree with this? And I'll tell you, not many people do. So I'm willing to go out on the limb with this being a unique take. But yeah, it just really got me this viewing, and it was a shame because it's been
I agree, mate. I think on that one, he is over the top. That character is over the top, and it doesn't really add that much to it. You know, and you're right. He's there to explain how badass Rambo is.
Yeah,
it is a bit corny.
I think they could have.
So
done
I agree with that one.
Yeah, much more.
I don't agree on the monologue. I don't agree on the monologue take, but that one I'm with you.
That was actually better than what I anticipated from you, Dan. So well done. Must be hard to shit on a fellow Dan like that, but just shows the kind of man that you are. So let's move into listen to this.
Are we going to do 1 degree of Kurt Russell?
Yeah, that comes later.
Oh.
That's after listen to this.
Righto.
Yeah, because it's, I'll let you have this one, Gow, okay? So you feel good about it?
I have a different one.
Oh, good. Well done. Listen to this. What do we got? You got anything, Morgs?
Oh, I think we talked about it earlier, but I was very interested in the fact that it was a 3.5 hour cut originally, and they had to really obviously get the scalpel out in the edit to make it the film that it is, because I haven't read the book, but I understand that it does divert a lot from the book, and the ending's completely different to the book, and that John J. Rambo is quite the psychopath and just a
well, he actually dies in the book.
Yeah.
So Rambo dies in the book, and there's no sequels if he dies. So
that's it.
He was
Makes
never
it
going to die.
hard to do a sequel. So
So Sly tried to buy the cut back from the studio to destroy it
because of the 3.5 hours. Because they didn't like it that much.
No, he hated it.
So they cut it right down. So
I think that the fact that he was able to salvage that from a cut that he wanted to actually disassociate himself with to make the final edit is incredible. So I think that Sly is underrated, perhaps, as a filmmaker, to be able to create that out of what was probably a bloated and nonsensical film prior to that.
Gow, what about you, mate?
Yeah, I've got one. So, Morgs, you mentioned before about the Hessian bag or the Hessian that Rambo wears in that movie. That was actually a piece of canvas that was on the set. They found on the outdoor set. It wasn't actually a movie prop, but there's only one of those, and Sly's kept that in his possession to this very day. So it's something that
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool fact.
Yeah, it's not like the old John McClane 17 singlets.
Exactly.
Yeah, well done. Okay, yeah, I got one about on set. Stallone, not on set, but in a pub. After hours, First Blood after hours. Stallone had a girl come up to him pretending to be a fan so that she could get a free round of drinks, and she obviously wasn't a fan. He's since used that in Rocky Balboa, where the girl comes up to him in the bar and is like, "Hey, champ, buy a drink." And he used that exact sort of real scenario in the Rocky Balboa movie, which is a great movie, mind you.
It's awesome. That's a really cool thing.
Movie.
Yeah. Good that he put that in.
Yeah.
I've got one quick one here. There was a point. I mean, someone bought the rights in 1972, and then it went through a few changes. But at one point, the studio wanted Chris Christopherson to be Rambo.
Oh, Convoy.
And Gene Hackman as Sheriff Teasle and Lee Marvin as Troutman.
That could have worked.
It's not a bad movie.
Not a bad movie.
Not a bad movie. Hey, what about that David Morrell, the author, has come out and said he prefers the film over the novel?
Yes. Yeah.
How good's that?
Yeah.
And we talked about Kirk Douglas earlier being in the role and Troutman Richard Crenna coming in late to it. I don't know if you guys.
Kirk Douglas would have been good, man.
Yeah. So he wanted in on this, but he quit. It was only a couple of days before they were filming, which is why Richard Crenna had to get fed his lines on set to do a lot of the first scenes. But Kirk Douglas had wanted it to snowball into. Here's what he said. Here's what I want. At the very end of the movie, I should kill you. The audience sees a cop car driving away, and as it disappears into the fog, a hand reaches up to the rearview mirror. The camera turns up, and we see me. It turns up a bit higher, and I'm wearing your headband. And the studio went, yeah. We're going to get Richard Crenna. We're going to get Richard Crenna. Thanks, mate.
So funny. So apparently, Morgs, just further to your point on the underground cave.
Yep.
So it says here, in spite of the fact the air and water temperatures during filming were extremely cold, obviously Sly really only wore a tank top during most of the movie. He never got sick until he drank a shot of brandy and he threw up everywhere. Heavy drinker, old Sly.
Nice.
Loved it. Anything else, or are we ready to move on? That's enough. Okay.
No, that was good. That was
Here
good.
we go. Gow wants it. 1 degree of Kurt Russell, and we all know the easy pick is Tango and Cash. What have you got, Gow?
Well, I watched this movie last night, and at the end when Sly comes into the town, Rambo comes in. He blows up the petrol station. You know, the Bowsers are going crazy. There's fire everywhere, and then he goes to the outpost, which is the gun shop, right? He goes into the gun shop and he starts throwing. He rips out the shelf, and then he goes into the cupboard. He rips open the cupboard, and you see in there a whole heap of cans of accelerant. What were those cans?
It wasn't trichloride.
It was trichloride. I'm calling it.
Gow.
That's impressive.
So anyway, yeah, I think the shot was owned by Ed Cox's brother. I think that's the general consensus.
Well done, Gow. Well done.
Backdraft throwback. That was very
MVP.
clever stats. Yeah, well played.
MVP. All right, well done. Okay, so quotables. There's 1,000. Someone give me your two favourites.
I'm out for this because I think Crenna has all the quotes and they're just cheesy as balls to me. So you guys run with it.
Oh, well, I've got one. I already said it earlier, but mine is when Orville says to Mitch, let's do some hunting. Hunting? We ain't hunting him. He's hunting us.
Yeah, nice.
And that's when the two of them are they're not really keen on getting up in the mountains.
No, and I wouldn't be either.
But you're right, Morgs. Every other quote in this is
It's
pretty much...
It's Troutman.
Or the King Shit Cop. I do like King Shit Cop.
Yeah. Okay, look, I've got many Troutman quotes to go to, but this is one of my favourites. And it's a bit of a monologue from old Samuel. You don't want to seem to accept the fact that you're dealing with an expert in guerrilla warfare, with a man who's the best, with guns, with knives, with his bare hands, a man who's been trained to ignore pain, ignore weather, to live off the land, and eat things that would make a billy goat puke. In Vietnam, his job was to dispose of enemy personnel, to kill, period, win by attrition, and Rambo was the best.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty fucking good.
That was better than Crenna. So no, I think that's actually that delivery was the same as Crenna. So I think, yeah, it was. Yeah, it's a bit on the nose, that dialogue for your mate Morgs, but it was a good delivery.
I love, and another thing, and this is me and the Gooby. Company leader to identify Baker team, Rambo, Mesner, Ortega, Coletta, Jorgensen, Danforth, Berry, Krakauer, confirm. This is Colonel Troutman. Talk to me, Johnny.
Yeah, good quote. So all those names were people in the crew.
Oh, really?
They're all names of people in the crew that they took out. Yeah.
Yeah. Mate, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of...
I do like Sly's. I won't go through the whole quote, but don't push it. Don't push it.
Yeah.
I'll give you a war you won't believe. Let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, mate, it's so good. It's so good. All right, look, there's 100 quotes here. We're not going to go through all of them. You've all seen the movie as many times as us, I'm sure, which is why you're listening to it. And we'd love to hear some of your favourites on the socials. So hit us up on Instagram or Facebook, or just message me like everyone else does. So now we're moving, which is fast becoming the second least favourite part of the show. Film school for fuckwits. Take it away, Dan.
Yes, fellow fuckwits. We've had a request from another super fan who doesn't get a lot of airtime, but is a very big fan of the pod, and that's Moggy. Moggy is a particularly big fan of montages, and really wanted to see what my take was on the use of montage in film. And I think great question, Moggy, and certainly something that we frequently use in as filmmakers. So I thought we'd do a bit of a deep dive into montages. So the montage. It's definitely ever-present part of modern screenwriting, and the most common form that us fuckwits are used to seeing is the training montage, which is an essential trope found in sports movies, but also in revenge and action and thriller flicks, and it efficiently prepares a character to face an ultimate challenge. So, any famous ones that spring to mind for you blokes?
Oh, Rocky.
Of course, yeah.
Please, before it begins and ends.
I think for Gow, for No Retreat, No Surrender, there's a fantastic montage in that. Pretty much every sports movie, there's some sort of use of montage, and generally for a training montage, a variation on the montage. But Gow, any for you that particularly memorable?
No Retreat, No Surrender.
Yeah, exactly. I knew you'd love it.
It's the best. It is the best.
It's really good. Isn't there a part
Whittle
of that?
Palm Tree? Kickboxer?
No Retreat, No Surrender, doesn't I can't remember the characters' names, but doesn't his mate sit on him when he's doing sit-ups or something and scream at him? It's a bit weird and a bit homoerotic from memory.
Oh, I can't remember. I remember the ones where he's he's got the legs over the pole and he's doing the push up high and he flings himself up onto the wood, like he's back up onto the wood. And I was like, how does someone even do one of those?
that's
It's crazy.
impressive. So. Yeah, anyway, but yes, look, but the Rocky franchise is absolutely famous for montages, and certainly as filmmakers, we frequently use montage, and it's essentially an editing technique. So it emphasises the relationships between shots and the juxtaposition of images to create ideas not present in the shot itself. So that sounds pretty wordy, but I guess the montages are really useful for a number of reasons. This includes it's really a summary of a single topic. So we talk about exposition a lot, but it's the exposition or introduction to the characters, their story or their world or their backstory. So that's why we use it. And then also for the condensing of time, information or space into a short and usually fast-paced sequence. So that's a pretty common form of montages. For TV, a very famous montage user, obviously, our mate the Hoff for Baywatch. I know that Matthew's giving it a rewatch with all of his family at the moment. And look, absolutely. And for me, they use it because they spend about $10 on each.
They got no fucking idea what else to do.
That's it. So for TV, that's probably not the best use of montage for Mitch doing slow-mo running down the beach and Pamela Anderson bursting out of her red cosy on the beach as well. Not that that's not a bad montage by any stretch, but no. There's actually, to get a bit technical, there's actually 5 methods of montage. So they're broken up into metric, which is cutting shots together based on exact measure of the length of time, so and disregarding the length and the content of the shot. There's rhythmic, which is also known as continuity editing, which we talked a bit about in a previous Film School for Fuckwits, and that's cutting based on the content of the shots, with edits differing in length depending on what happens within the sequence. So another method of montage is tonal, which we talked about a bit earlier, which is cutting based on tones within the shot. So the highlighting of emotional.
Did you say anal?
I said tonal.
Oh, sorry. Yes, continue.
Gutter ball. It's the highlighting of emotional themes or meanings in the shots themselves. So shots that are linked based on oral or visual similarities. So
oral?
Oral. And then there's overtonal, which is cutting according to overtones and themes within different shots. So which incorporate wider themes of the film and creating an emotional response from the audience. So and the final one's intellectual, which is the antithesis of this podcast and of you two dimwits, but it's very different shots cut together as a visual metaphor. The shots are linked together through a similar intellectual meaning. So obviously very, very not much relevance to this particular Film School for Fuckwits episode. But what I wanted to say is great montage doesn't always have to be in a sport or action flick. So getting around to it is here's my top 3 non-sport or non-action film montages. So we talked a little bit about this one in my top 4 films, and it pops up in the top 4 every now and again. But it's The Breakfast Club, and I don't know if you remember the scene.
Yeah, I do remember.
I refer to as the detention dance, but basically John Hughes. His montage displays the teenage angst of each member of the group. So the result is we basically see that they become friends during their detention and they're now comfortable in each other's company despite the differences. So
okay. Are you going to say Ferris Bueller next then?
No, but
okay.
I actually left that. I wanted to do top 5, but I was trying to trim it a bit this week because Film School for Fuckwits does roll on a bit. But my final question. You can revert back to this, but so yeah, it's basically it suggests unity. The montage in The Breakfast Dance, so the characters united, but as an audience, we're united with them. So we see where we can unite with the characters in a shared moment of joy when they're all smoking their doobies. And Judd Nelson, regardless, he's a weird cat in that particular scene and throughout the entire movie. Yeah,
he's a weird, isn't he?
Weird cat. But this one's a little bit more obscure, but an excellent flick, and I would encourage all of you fuckwits to watch it if you haven't seen it already. But City of God, which is a Brazilian favela kid drug lord flick. So absolutely brilliant movie, and don't be put off by the subtitles, fuckwits. It's fantastic. But there's a really unique montage scene, which it's a tonal style of montage scene where it tells the history of the drug apartment there. So it uses voiceover and narration and montage to quickly explain everything that's happened in this particular apartment, and it catches the audience, catches us up to speed on how a local dealer, Blackie, got control of his turf. But what's really interesting is that the scene uses the same static shot of the apartment for the entire history of the apartment. It basically changes up all the furniture, and it's a bit of a continuity nightmare, but it shows how the apartment degrades and the decor changes as it changes hands. So we see the journey of the apartment, and it starts with full of furniture and life, but in the end, it's stripped down of its personality, like the actual apartment is a personality. So it's a really clever use of a static shot. It moves the plot along, but also contains a lot within it, and that static shot allows the scope for that particular journey within a really small frame. So my final favourite montage is actually my personal favourite montage, and one you'll be very aware of. It's a very famous montage and non-sporting movie montage, but we mentioned it earlier on today, but Trainspotting. So a fantastic example of world building and character exposition through montage is the timeless Choose Life speech at the start of Trainspotting, set to Iggy Pop's Lust for Life track. I mean, what an absolutely brilliant opening to a movie. It's an overtonal montage. It introduces to the main characters as they play football, and it actually foreshadows what the characters basically their traits throughout the film. So Sick Boy, especially they're playing soccer five-a-side. I don't know if you remember in it, but Sick Boy, he fouls a player and then denies the fault. Begbie's ultra violent, like he trips a player up and then cacks himself about it. Spud's really weedy and runs away from the ball, and when he goes to make a save. And Tommy, the golden boy, who ends up becoming the smacky, he's playing really well and holding the ball up and playing against four characters at once. So it serves as a real microcosm of the characters, and it introduces us to the main themes of the film, which is drug abuse, addiction, and nihilism. So, yeah, that's a couple or three of my favourite non-sporting and non-action film montages. But are there any others that you guys particularly love? Whitey, you mentioned Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, Ferris Bueller's one that springs to mind straight away. Other than that, like, to be perfectly honest, I figure that montages are best suited to chop a shit ton of time down into something very short and make it look like they've done a lot of work in 60 or 90 seconds.
Well, I totally agree. And now would be a good time to chop in the brilliant theme from Team America World Police, which
would be
is
good unless if we could, we would. Otherwise, we get ripped off the air in about fucking 5 seconds.
Yeah, all right, but that's check it out.
That is.
Yeah.
Look, I think that Team America is one long montage, and
it is,
it's quality.
Also, a brilliant Stan Bush kick-ass credit song version as well.
So, definitely.
Anyway, Moggy, that is for you a bit from the industry about montages. I hope it explained a few things. I'm definitely struggling with making these episodes shorter. So if anyone else
haven't noticed.
If anyone, any of the fans, if there's anything you'd like to know about the industry, just hit me up on the MySpace page, and I'll be happy to do it in Film School for Fuckwits.
We might need a montage for this scene.
Yeah, we might cut the Film School for Fuckwits down into a montage.
It's pretty long, but I get pretty deep on it. I think I want to make it. I want to do a good job of being my wisdom.
Being the one industry insider on the panel, we need to bleed you for everything that you've got.
It is, and I hope that fellow fuckwits do use my knowledge to show off in front of.
They'd be silly if they didn't, Dan. They'd be silly if they didn't.
They would. So yeah. Anyway, on we go.
Okay, well done. Look, now it's time for the kick-ass credit song. All right, so I've done the credit song tonight, and I think I'm ready to fucking roll with it. So it's another ballad. This time it's a bit country rock power ballad, I think. It's got a bit of Keith Urban about it. And, yeah, so let's just see how it goes. All right.
It can't be any worse than Dan Hill's Long Road, that's for sure.
It might be. It might be. I just had to listen just to get the tune again. So it could end up being Slim Shady again. So let's just wait and see. Okay. In Nam, I would pilot $1 million vehicles. I killed and I maimed. I learnt life was fickle. Got home and I found I can't get a job. not parking, not trimming. Now where was my guard? So I walk and I wander to the edge of the yonder to find Delmore Barry. He's now a goner. The cancer, it got him in 72. Got home, didn't realize his life would be through. I hand over the photo and head to the south till some king shit cop starts running his mouth. He pushed and he prodded, the blood starts to flow. With ink on my fingers, I'm ready to blow. And I snap. It's all over, these coppers are shit. Broken noses and jawbones, it's bloods they will spit. And I steal some kid's zip and head to the hills where I'll make my last stand. Someone's blood I will spill. You drew first blood, not me. Teasel started this war, now I'll end it with a hidden trap spree. Troutman says, let the fucker free. 'Cause you drew first blood, not me. I eaten the boar and stabbed Caruso's hammy, held a knife to Teasel's neck, his back got all clammy. This war isn't over till I say it's so. I'll grab an M60 and finish the show. Teasel falls through the roof, but he isn't dead yet. In fact, only one died, and that was actually manslaughter at best. You drew first blood, not me. Teasel started this war. I ended it with an M60. You drew first blood, not me. I surrender to Troutman. It's a life of hard labor for me.
Awesome. Awesome.
I think it sounded like a Billy Bragg song. That was definitely okay, so first and foremost, it is 50 times better than Dan Hill's pathetic effort. So if I was the producer of the film, Andrew Vanya and Mario Kassar, I would be replacing your song with that at the moment. But very well done. You are obviously very fond of your own work because you completely forgot that we do one verse and one chorus.
Mate,
no.
I got to say, the music, I had the music in me. And it was like Gow with You Got a Mullet, where you just had to keep writing. It wrote itself. The song wrote itself.
I want to ask you one question. You didn't want to go with You've Got an Army Mullet?
It was considered. It was considered. It definitely was considered.
Well, that was
unreal. That song was unreal.
It was in your key as well. I could see Gow buying that as a single. Like he would have forked $3.99 at More Music or Sandy's DY.
Mate, that would go on top of Vicar and Linda Bull for sure.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. It'd be in the sixth. It'd be in the 6 CZ stacker. Yeah, with Vicar and Linda. Look, I've got to say, I did mention to Morgs that I felt pretty confident about my song tonight. I felt like it was not piss-taking enough, but I'm pretty happy with that one. But we'll see how we go. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. All right, let's move into star of the show. Gal, you start with this one. Go for it.
Sly, the character of Rambo's. We've been through it. I don't need to say much more on that. How good he is in this movie. Unreal. Yeah. Love Teasel in it. Love Brian Dennehy, but I think it's Sly all the way.
Yeah. Morgs.
It's Brian Dennehy for me. I think he's flawless. I think he's a fantastic actor and a fantastic performance. So I think he eclipses Sly. I guess looking at it critically, I think that knowing he'd only been doing it for 4 years, brilliant.
Yeah, look, it is. I could go either way, but of course I'm going Sly. I think he's underrated as an actor, and this movie really, really shows that. And I go back to the first scene again, that emotional journey he takes in the first 5 minutes of the film. Yeah, wins it for me. So it's Sly for me. Let's get into the ratings. This is a good one. I've got a couple options for us for the ratings. I've got punji sticks. I've got Bowie knives. I've got M60s. I've got king shit cops. And I've got sewn arms. Thoughts?
King shit cops.
Of course.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I don't want weapons. I think King Shit Cops
King
is
Shit
good.
Cops. Okay. So how many King Shit Cops are you going to give this one, Dan?
Well, the first 2/3 of the movie get a 3.5, and the last third of the movie gets a 2. So if you 5.5, it's a 2.75 overall for me, which seems harsh.
Wow. Daniel.
Yeah. And it makes me sad because I love the first 2/3 of this movie, and I was
The wrath's coming for you. The wrath is coming for you.
Mr. S. Nixon of Coleroy probably won't talk to me for a few years. Noted
the wrath
grudge
is coming.
master. But yeah, no, actually, I'm taking that back. I'm going to up it to a 3, but it's only a 3 because I was disappointed in the final third.
Okay. Yeah, what are you giving it? How many King Shit Cops is Rambo getting?
4.75.
Oh, good one.
And I'm getting some super dries out of that, I'd say.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure I'm getting a 6-pack of super dry from Sloan. No, this movie's unreal. I was so looking forward to watching this, and I didn't realize how much until this week. I was like, wow, I can't wait to watch this again. I haven't seen it for such a long time. And I will watch this again. I will definitely watch it. I don't normally think I'll watch movies again.
You're not big on the rewatches, are you?
No, and I'll 100% watch this again. It's just a great movie.
Yeah, no, it is great. Look, okay. On IMDb, I've given this a rating of 9, which would be 4.5. But I'm going to go with Gow. This is close to a perfect movie for me. I'm going 4.75. And this now is really going to fuck things up. Hold on.
We're just
Hold on.
He had the phone out before you even started talking more.
You know what? I keep doing minus instead of divide. I've done it again.
I'm going to go with a 4.17. Hey, what are you calculating?
I don't think he knows what he's doing.
I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, we're going to go 4.17. Okay, so it's 4.17 King Shit Cops, and there's an echo in here.
Is there an echo?
There's an echo in here. So, Gow, 4.17 King Shit Cops. Where does this put?
4.17.
I'll tell you what, Morgs has let us down here. But anyway, go.
4.17 puts this into equal fourth spot with The Guard at 4.17 Derringers, one below Die Hard at 4.25 Toasted Quarterbacks. The fact that this movie is the same as The Guard does my head in.
Yeah, look, I would much prefer to watch First Blood than The Guard. But anyway, I know Morgs feels otherwise, but
I'm sad. Like I'm not. I don't say it lightly, and I'm not being a dick. When I was so excited like Al when I watched the first 2/3, and then I was kind of went, ugh, this could have been a different movie, and it's just let down by some crap at the end. So yeah. Anyway, I stand by my call there, and I'm ready to cop it with my flak jacket on.
Okay, so 4.17 King Shit Cops puts First Blood into fourth spot, equal with The Guard. What are we watching, fellas? Gow?
I'm watching everything. I was watching nothing last week.
Yeah, you're all over it this week.
I'm all over it. I'm watching. Well, I watched the first episode of House of the Dragon.
Yep.
Got that out of the way. Queen of the South, there's a new series out. I've been watching that on and off. Animal Kingdom, I'm getting one a week, so I'm into that as well. And
you're good at getting one a week, aren't you?
Yeah. Not really. And there was something else I was watching too. I can't think of what it was.
Hello, Mr. Goodbar.
It might have been
Country Practice.
Will and Grace?
Yeah, rewatching that.
Yeah, okay. Gow, Morgs, what about you, mate?
Well, I'm sad to say that Breaking Bad has concluded. Absolutely amazing effort. Vince Gilligan.
Better Call Saul, you mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, Better Call Saul.
Sorry, that's the other one I've been watching. Yeah, you said Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
No, I've been watching Better Call Saul. I'm in 5 episodes in.
Yeah,
and it's awesome.
I won't spoil it for you, but yeah, brilliant end to a slow burning but brilliant TV experience. So yeah, finish that off. Not much. Oh yeah, try to watch House of the Dragon, but I got halfway into F1 and will not be continuing that journey. Sorry. Great Game of Thrones. The final season has burnt me, and I'm over it.
Yeah, look, I didn't mind. I watched the first episode of House of Dragons. I enjoyed it. It was pretty freaking violent, and I'll continue. But another movie, it's come back onto Netflix, and I'd like to do it on Born to Watch at some stage. It's probably a little while away, which is The Nice Guys with Russell Crowe.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Gosling.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It is so funny.
I actually watched Stripes last night. Cause that's
how good. I saw it the other day.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, loved it.
Okay, so we're going to talk about what we're going to do next week.
Yeah.
And we're throwing a curveball. I'm making an executive decision here, and we're throwing a curveball into what we've been doing of late. And we're going back to the start. We're going back to episode 1. We're redoing it. Top Gun Maverick has just started streaming on Paramount. We're going to give the Born to Watch treatment to Top Gun Maverick. And I think this is going to be one not to miss, because I don't think Dan has seen this yet.
Nah, I've been trying. I haven't been able to get my ass into the cinema. So if it's streaming, I'll talk to the fine people at Paramount Plus and see if they can throw me a bone, and I'll watch it this week. Look, everyone I've spoken to has done nothing but rave about it, so I do have high expectations.
Well, it is already rating. It is already top of the list on the Born to Watch Pantheon at 4.75 Gs. And it'll be interesting.
That was on a 2-person rating.
That was on a 2-person rating. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when Dan comes into the mix.
Yep.
Because it will change it, and our ratings can change, because we'll make it as the Top Gun Maverick rewatch, and we'll see where it fits, and we could change our ratings. So it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I've started watching it already. It's really freaking good. It's really freaking good. Anyway, that's it for this week. Great show. Probably a long show. We tried to trim it, but this movie was one that we just could not trim.
We've outlasted the movie again 2 weeks in a row.
I think we have, yeah. We've definitely
we've smashed the movie length.
Yeah, this is the original. This is the original.
This is Sly's first cut.
This is the Filthy Luca remix, The First Blood. And we had a lot of fun. Can't wait till next week until we cover Top Gun Maverick. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell strangers, listen to Born to Watch, join the journey. We're having a lot of fun, and we love having you guys along with us. So until next week when we see you on the line, it's bye for now.
Catch you later.
Sorry, Sonny. Sorry, Sloan. Didn't mean to shit on your movie.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Born to Watch. To join us on our journey into some of our favourite movies of all time, you can find us on all good podcast networks like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you like what you hear, give us a 5-star review and share with your friends.